What's going on, y'all? Welcome to JV's Garage. My name is Brennan, and this is a 2005 Suzuki GZ250 that I got abandoned. Oh, I didn't abandon it. It was abandoned, and I basically saved it. All right, so the story is it was in front of a house that my family has, it was their house. It was abandoned in front of it for probably 8 months to a year. These people moved out down the street and they put it in a pile of trash. And obviously the trash company is not going to take the bike. So after watching it for pretty much the better half of this year sit there, I called the police department. Actually, I emailed them with some pictures and said, hey, I'm wondering what's up with this little Suzuki. I've talked to the neighbors, no one wants it. And they go, well, let's go take a look. So they came back and said, yep, it is in fact abandoned. And we tried reaching out to the owner who sold it. And the guy that he sold it to 5 years ago never re-registered it. So they tried getting in contact with them, but there's no paper trail. So they impounded it. Well, the sergeant I was working with was really awesome. And he calls me up at like 9:30 at night and goes, hey, bike's impounded. Here's the information if you want it. The rest is a civil matter. And I go, great. So I called the towing company and they said, can you prove anything that you know anything about this bike and blah, blah. And I go, yeah, I have pictures of it in front of my house and I know the VIN. And they go, all right, come get it. So I went up there, I paid the impound fee. It was like $300. And that's kind of where this video starts. So the first clip you're gonna see of me starting up the truck and hooking up the trailer and all that was that night that I got the phone call. And that's kind of the backstory here. All in all, I'm in this project right under $1,400. And that's the bike, every single part that I have put on this bike. And then the registration, tax, title, license, all of that stuff I had to pay for at the DMV. So this bike is registered, it's road legal, and it's in my name. So we're just waiting on the title to get here. We're gonna try to sell it and see what kind of money we can make. But for now, check out the video. Tell me what you think. Alrighty, y'all. So I know this is absolutely overkill. 100%. All right, we're going to pick up a little 250. But I'm by myself in this yard. I'm gonna have no one to help load it. And I don't have any ramps long enough. There's a donkey out there. Anyways, like I was saying, I don't have any ramps long enough to get this thing up there by myself. And this trailer's free and in my backyard, so we're just gonna take this. All right, pulling out our cash at some point today. Just like that. Let's go pick ourselves up a motorcycle. All right, y'all, it's like 10 o'clock at night, but we got it. Little Suzuki. Let's load her up. Alrighty, y'all, in the shop, we got the Harley in the background. I don't have a name for it yet. Coming a name for it. For this, the old Suzuki, we're calling her Susie Q, or Susie for short. All right, that's what we're going with. She's gonna rock and roll, hopefully. So, first glance, we'll just look at some things. Tank, this is just a sticker, so we'll clean that up. The paint looks like it's in okay condition. It's been sitting outside for a long time. There's a good couple patches of the paint here that don't look terrible. It's just got like a nice glitter to the paint. It's kind of hard to see on camera. I know it looks like dirt, but it actually is a glitter in the paint, so that's pretty cool. The seat, no idea anything about it. Looks aftermarket, pretty cool. Taking a look at the old Odo, we got ourselves 5,369 miles. So pretty excited about that. Off the rip, broken mirror. This one, not really Not really too sure what this one is about here. Bike is filthy. All right, the bike is filthy. You can see right here, I mean, this is just some surface rust and buff right out. Tire cracked to hell. We definitely don't want that. Covered in mud. And if we look at the back, I mean, it's either someone was doing some burnouts in this puppy, which, I mean, it is a 250, so I doubt that. Petcock looks broken off. Looks like someone used a Dremel and just put a screwdriver in there. Get a new petcock put in here, pull the tank off, clean it. We don't have keys, so we're gonna have to figure this part out, probably just drill it out. I'll get a new ignition made, or a new ignition ordered with a key, and then I'll probably switch this cap to just a twist off cap or something like that. Brakes look good, no problem with the brakes. They both work, the front and the rear. Front's disc, rear is a drum. And the bike goes into gear, goes into neutral. Everything looks somewhat decent on it, just looks filthy. So that's kind of where we're at. All right, so tomorrow, or maybe the next day, whenever I get a chance to, I would love to get some sort of electric going to the bike. Be a great indicator first. If I can get it to turn over, from there, instantly we'll do a compression test. All right, if this engine is trash, it's got no compression, then to me, bike's not worth saving. I'm not really willing to put new rings on the pistons. Maybe there's a cracked cylinder. I have no idea. But first step is just gonna be getting electric to the bike, seeing if it turns, and then going from there, and we're gonna do a compression test. That's all for tonight. I'm gonna put the trailer away, get everything scored away, move old Susie Q out of the way. I can park my truck in here. The old Road Glide, sitting pretty. All right, y'all. We're back today working on old Susie. All right. So, little update. Couldn't find the key, so we ended up just ordering a new ignition. It was like 50 bucks on eBay. The key, or I'm sorry, the ignition is gonna come with a key. It's actually 2 keys. It's gonna come with a new gas cap, a new seat lock, and all of everything else that we'll need, wires, harnesses, and etc. So basically what I'm trying to do now is just do what I can without the ignition. So we're taking the old one out. I wanna examine it. Basically see if I can get the seat off. I'm manually actuating the lock on the seat. So that's kind of where we're at now. I'll show you that. So on a rolling chair. So basically we have the ignition cylinder here. We have 2 bolts, one there and one on the other side holding them in. These were like really, really stuck. So I ended up just using a little WD-40 and letting it sit for a couple hours, came out, and now they're sliding right out. Headlight and gauge cluster assembly is just 2 bolts. We just keeping these on here so we don't lose them. And then I've got the headlight bolts over there on the ground by the WD-40. So let's go ahead and pull this ignition off. All of our wires here that were living in the headlight we took out. And now, all right, next we're just gonna pull this battery out. Just 2 Phillips head screws here and here. Upon examining the ignition, I don't see anything on here, if I can even get to it. There's nothing on here that connects to the seat. It's just a harness and it's all electric. So it makes me think something else is going on with the seat. I'm gonna pull the tank off and see if we can find any sort of cable, actuators or anything like that to try to pull this off, because there was a screw on the back on the passenger seat and they both seem to be conjoined right here in the middle. So try to figure that out next. But next, get this battery out and tank off and we'll go from there. Alrighty, y'all. We got the bike pretty much disassembled. Seat off, batteries out. We got pretty much everything that needed to come off. I want to go ahead and show you all the front end. Should turn it around. I'll move it over. But as you can see, pretty much took the headlight and everything off that we needed to. As it turns out, every bike I've ever owned that has like a locking seat, mostly Yamahas, it's all up in the ignition. So I learned on this bike, it's actually different. So this little side panel here, this guy is mounted here, and your key goes in there and it actuates and basically just tugs on this. When it pulls on this, it unlocks the seat. So the key set that I ordered with the new ignition and the keys and all that and the gas cap are gonna come with a new one of these. We got the seats off, absolutely filthy. Looks like a rat was living in here. So I think this is a good stopping point for the disassembly for now. I want to go get it power washed and cleaned up and show you what that looks like afterwards. All right, we just finished washing the bike. Just want y'all to notice, check out the driveway, okay? Now as I get closer to the bike, I don't even know where any of this came from, but she shines up much better. Let's dry her off and get her inside. Guys, I'm back. All right, we got the bike stripped down pretty much all the way, other than the engine, transmission, the chain, sprockets, all that fun stuff. So I'll show you that in just a minute. But first, I just want to give an update. I didn't really have a lot of time to film all this today. I was kind of doing it in between, you know, certain things throughout the day. I had to run some errands after work. So just kind of as I had the chance, I was able to get this bike disassembled. But first, we have an amazing new feature to the Harley Road Glide. I'm gonna show that here right now. I got the Road Glide sitting pretty. It was actually supposed to be a Christmas gift, but you know, Christmas came early. As you can tell, we got a Saddleman Road sofa added on here to the 117. This is the extended reach version. I'm pretty tall, so for me so far, just sitting, I haven't ridden it yet. I just installed it. It feels great, looks great. The blue contrast of the stitching matches the bike well. Just did a quick polish and quick detail on the bike, get that paint shining really, really nice. Should have about a 2-hour ride tomorrow on this, so just wanted to get everything dialed in before I did that. Now, let's take a look at the bike, all right? She looks a little naked, all right? Now, sometimes, you know, when things look naked, it can be good. And that is exactly what we're working with here, all right? I'll take you over to the old parts counter. Everything is stripped. We got the tank, we got our air intake, our air filter. I was actually shocked with how good this air filter looked. I mean, it looks new for the most part. A lot of times y'all will see those red air filters. That's actually just the oil that dyes it that color. So this is a non-oiled filter, at least it looks that way to me. We got our chain guard. I'm going to sand this down and paint this a really nice, I think like a nice matte black finish, maybe a glossy black, haven't decided yet. We have the carburetor taken apart here. Carb actually looked really good. I pulled the jets out, we got the float out. Jets are actually back in right there, but all of them were clear. I mean, I have my cleaning kit. I cleaned the jets the best I could. Diaphragm springs just wobbling here. So everything looked as good as it could have been, given that the bike has 5,300 miles on it, 5,300 miles. We have the headlight taken apart. I'm probably gonna keep this factory, to be honest. Normally every bike I get that is not one of these, I swap the headlight for an LED version. I think this bike's gonna look better classic. I mean, it's 20 years old. Just a quick glimpse of some of the hardware. These bolts are the ignition switch bolts. You see it's got red Loctite on there. And let me tell you, they acted like red Loctite. It was super hard to get off. These are the headlight holding bolts, I guess. They're the headlight supports. We got a bunch of miscellaneous bolts over here. And you can see the spark plug on the bike is just foul. I mean, this thing is black. All right. Now, I don't know. really, I guess, what to say other than maybe it looks like it was running pretty rich, just given how black it was. Fuel line, this should be rubber, all right? That's not rubber anymore. This is going to be replaced. Battery. Fun fact, tested this out. We actually read 12 volts exactly. This battery hasn't been touched in about 8 months, maybe longer, and it's reading 12 volts still. So super cool. Battery doesn't look too terrible. I mean, it looks good, feels good, super heavy. I do need to get a new side plate. This is for the left side of the bike, and we're gonna be needing one for the right side, which is the battery cover. Our old ignition is here, so we have a new one of those coming on the way. Yeah, that's pretty much it though. Everything looks good. Even the gasket on the carburetor float bowl looks really, really good. So super pumped with that. Oh, here's a fun update. Here are the brake pads, all right? Here was one side, this is the other. So we got the back here. This is supposed to be where the pad is. Needless to say, we got new brakes for the bike, all right? I went ahead and ordered front and rear. I'm gonna get the caliper decompressed and rebled. I have not pulled this off yet. And when I do, I'm gonna replace these screws. This one actually looks stripped. So someone's done something at some point there. And I ordered a new rear drum kit. It's basically a rebuild with new pads for this. And we're gonna get that going. I have this stuff I've actually never used. It's a plastic, basically restoration kit. I'm gonna try that. If it doesn't look good, I'm gonna sand it down and just spray paint it black. But yeah, you can just see the paint is still super foggy. You got a lot of scratches and swirls in it, but that's actually just the light reflecting. It does have a bit of glitter in the paint. Super pumped about that. I looked at mufflers online on eBay. They look identical to this for 250 bucks. All right, we paid like 300 something for the bike. So not worth it, sorry. But other than that, everything looks good. As far as parts ordered, we did order a new chain and sprockets. I was reading about changing out some of the gearing on the bike for either better acceleration or better top speed. I'm just gonna keep it the way it is. For someone who wants it to learn, it's gonna be a great bike either way, and changing these gears out is not that hard. So this chain, as you can see, tons of play. That's not gonna, it's literally resting right there. That's not gonna fly. So we got a new sprocket gear, new chain coming. This sprocket looks really good. I'm gonna leave this one alone, and we're basically gonna do like an OEM kind of conversion on it, make it back to the way it was, and go from there. So as soon as I get an update on parts, should be here in a couple days, we'll get this thing dialed and ready to roll. All right, y'all, we are back in the shop today with old Suzy Q, and turns out there is a literal flat plate of steel. I don't have a motorcycle jack yet, even though I should get one. But I have a floor jack for a car, and it actually literally just sits perfectly right there on that plate of steel. So today I want to take the back wheel off for a couple reasons. One, we have a new chain and sprocket coming. And also we have a rear drum brake kit coming. And so for both of those, we can take the wheel off. Those parts, I think one of the parts will be here today and the other part will be here tomorrow. So either way, I want to just get a head start. Oh, when they get here, we can slap them on and call it a day. All right, so that's the update. Also, I want to show y'all something. Massive screwdriver here, and I just hammered it to smithereens, threw it in there, right near where the lock is. I drilled the lock out completely and actually twisted the screwdriver and pulled, I broke the lock, and then what I did is I took a self-tapping metal bit and drilled it through the lock, and it literally pulled the whole locking assembly right out. And then at that point, I was able to basically make a little lever situation here, and I just pulled it out, and just pulled it out, and this whole thing popped and came out. I do have a new gas cap on the way that's gonna match the key for the new ignition, so I don't really care about the status of this one. And so that's kind of where we're at with this, but I thought I'd give an update. Also, took the petcock off the gas. You can see we took the petcock off the old gas tank, and it was nasty. Just full of corrosion. The seal looks terrible. These stems look terrible. So went ahead and replaced, took this off. I have a replacement coming as well. So yeah, that's the latest with old Susie. Let's get this wheel off. All right, so first step of getting this off, ideally would be to remove the chain or loosen it. But because it's so loose right now, I'm just gonna leave it and try to basically pull this axle bolt out and then push the wheel slightly forward and see if I can just basically take it off of the back sprocket there. If that doesn't work, then we're just gonna cut it, because like I said, we have a new chain coming. This one's rusting like Titanic. So yeah, that's kind of my game plan here. This cotter pin, I'm feeling around, and it is literally, as you can see, if it'll focus, it's little. So I'm just gonna try to bend this back, pull this pin out, and then loosen that nut. We should be able to do this without removing the exhaust. If you got a good set of wrenches that can reach it. So that's kind of the plan. While I'm looking at it, I am going to get a wire brush for my drill, clean this up real good, and then put like a high temp paint on it, like a nice black. I'll sand it, prime it, and then put a nice black high temp paint on there to really make that clean up, and also it'll prevent rusting in the future. It's really inexpensive to do, but it'll just look a lot better than looking at this little cat's rear end here. So anyways, let's get this wheel off. I just got the cotter pin out, and that sucked. I mean, look at how mangled it is. It's mangled. Anyways, one thing I wanted to add, that's a little WD-40 to help slather out. You could barely see it, a lot more visible in person, but I put a little streak, a Sharpie mark on both sides. That way I know where these things went. So yeah, that's kind of that there. All right, front wheel is out. This is the axle. Sat like this, covered in grease, that's good. This is the spacer, that went like this. This is our wheel speed sensor. And this spins a mechanical little thing, I don't even know what you call it, cable, and that spins your speedometer. So going on our makeshift little ramp here, we're gonna roll it over in the corner, try to get some new tires tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. All right, y'all, we're just gonna do a quick recap of the bike, old Susie Q. So we got everything off, as you can tell. I mean, it's pretty much frame, fenders, and engine at this point. So we got some new parts, just keeping first, let's just look at all the parts we have here. Everything's just assembled, taken apart, ready to roll. So the new parts we got today, a nice new chain. Everything on this looks like it's gonna match up. I know that it's probably gonna be a little bit too long, so it sent a kit to change links out. Really pumped about that. We got our new petcock. This one's looks nice, kind of the same thing. Let's see here. It's a little bit different. The fuel side's over here, whereas this one sticks out on the bottom. But functionally they look very similar, so this should be no problem, and we'll get this thing dialed. Like I said, anything else on old Susie Q's looking good. I think I'm gonna have to leave the sprocket. We'll see what this new one looks like when it comes. This one's just really rusty. Like I said, this one's just really rusty, so may just clean it, paint it, and call it a day, but structurally it looks fine. We got the tires loaded up in the back of the truck. I've got a guy not too far from me that is going to be able to help me get some tires put on here, and I'll get these wheels back installed as soon as possible, because I do not like leaving it like that. That is just, unfortunately, I'm working with what I got, all right? So it'll have to do. All right, y'all, it's new parts day for old Susie Q. All right, we're getting her painted up there and primed. I got a vent fan going. I'm doing it super close range. I know I probably shouldn't paint near the Corvette, but I don't think that what I'm doing is gonna have any problem with the car being that close. So, new brake shoes. You can look at these. Perfect, exact fit for the factory ones. So these ones really didn't need to be replaced. There's still a lot of pad on here, but you know, just for the sake of doing it. The wheels already off, it was cheap. Caltric front brake pads, no hardware, kind of a bummer. So we'll have to basically use some of the old hardware and put it back together. The ignition is here, gas cap, old ignition, new ignition. Gonna get this thing hooked up, and these plugs match for the most part. New seat hardware. This is the seat lock or latch mechanism. The actual lock itself, which is going to sit inside of the piece of plastic. So anyways, let's get this thing rolling. First, let's go ahead and get the brakes going. I want to get this thing put back together. The wheels should be done in just a couple hours, so shortly we'll go get that together and go from there. All right, y'all, a little update. Master cylinder here. I'm sorry, the brake reservoir, master cylinder reservoir. So the part that it bolts up to the bars, as you can tell, this bolt snapped, and I was using hand tools very carefully, and these are just so rusted. Maybe you can just see how nasty and corroded these were. So this broke. So then I drilled it out, and then I put a removal kit because I had a perfect hole down the middle, and I'm like, oh, I can just tap the threads out, and it split that in half too, and that was made of solid steel. So, welcome to your new home. And I have a new kit that's all chromed out coming tomorrow. So, 30 bucks more. Just better, even though this thing was painted and looks super cool. We have a new one that's chrome, so I don't need that either. What up, y'all? Just wrapped up the work day. Got Susie Q back here. She's doing good, doing great. Took the wheels in today. I got a tire guide that I like to use. Shout out Indy Moto up in Denton. They're right off of 377 35E. See if you're looking at the map. I don't know. I'll put a shout out to them in the link or in the description. Owner's name is Brad, super great guy. He basically, he did the tires on a Roadstar 1700 that I had, and I actually ended up having a problem with one of those tires. Both of them actually. It was the Shinko 777s, and they had that reflective stripping on it, and I didn't actually know that that's what I ordered. He just installed them, and that's what it was like. So, anyways, I had a road trip the next day. So I needed tires, I needed them then. I got them, I was like, whatever, you know, it's what I got. I'm not gonna complain, we'll deal with it. So, did the road trip. It was like 800 miles, and we did that in a weekend. We pretty much rode from like DFW to Arkansas, but we went north on 35 and then cruised directly east all the way to Arkansas. Met up with some people. We did like a trip, like a long, I forget the name of the road back. We did that in like 2 days, so it was a lot of riding, but came back and the reflective tape on the tire was peeling off on the corners, so it was like, you know, flapping in the wind. And I'm like, you know, I just got these things. I hadn't even washed them really yet, you know, and we didn't hit any rain on the road trip, so no problem with that. Called Brad, and he's like, that's unacceptable. I'm gonna get these things dialed for you, don't worry. I was like, fantastic. So the next day, he had the same tire, Shinko 777s, non-reflective, which I prefer anyways, and that was completely free. The rep apologized, Brad apologized, and it was overall, it's not Brad's fault, you know. He didn't know, he was just selling the tire, and he did an awesome job getting them installed and balanced. He even let me work from his shop a little bit, so that was cool. So anyways, called Brad up. I was like, hey, I need tires for this. He goes, cool, bring them by whenever. So brought them by, and he goes, cool, have them ordered. They'll be here tomorrow morning. You can come pick them up tomorrow afternoon. fantastic. So anyways, I forget the model. I think I know they're Shinkos. I just said give me something relatively cheap. The bike's not super heavy and it's not putting out a lot of power, so I don't need, you know, some crazy heavy duty touring tires. I just need something to work and be safe. Update on some of the parts. I think I showed this yesterday. We got our chain guard painted nice and glossy black. Looks really, really good. The paint job came out awesome. I'm super pumped about that. And then I also went ahead and painted this license plate bracket. It was kind of rusty, so I sanded it down, put 2 coats of primer, 3 coats of paint. This thing's looking brand new. Last thing I painted, and it's actually still drying, so I'm gonna show that here in a second. Let's see right now. All right, y'all, in the shop. Good news and bad news, all right? You might notice something. Suzuki has got new shoes. All right, so shop's a disaster. I meant to pick this up. We're gonna give you an update on the bike. So here it is. We got new tires, brand new Mitsutskis. Got a new chain, got new brakes put in the rear of the drum. Pretty gold chain, looking real good. New rear as well. So the problem is the ignition just doesn't work. It didn't fit. I tried making my own wiring harness, couldn't figure it out. Our master cylinder never showed up today. Classic. So we got the wheels on, everything's set back up. It's just a matter of getting that ignition going, slapping the tank on, putting some new fuel lines in, and she should be running. So that's our update today. We tested the battery, and the starter solenoid is getting power on the battery side and the starter side. Some of the wires up here are getting power when I was connecting to the switch, but the one that told the ignition to start was not. And we took the ignition back apart, and that was, it's just wrong. It just doesn't match. So I'm putting this bike away, cleaning up the shop, pull a little F-150 in here, first time in the garage in like a week. So that'll be cool. And yeah. Up next is put the side panel on. So I have the new key installed here. Just gonna feed this in like so. And then this is gonna sit here on that hole. Took these wires away. This side here pushes in, which we should see right there. This line goes there, and then it's a 10mm bolt that goes right here. Not too hard, not too tight. Yeah, side panel on. This is gonna go on next. So it's gonna go like this. It's gonna hide a lot of that chain. We do have a new side piece coming here. It's on the way. We'll throw that on and really hide a lot of this. It'll look a lot better. But as of right now, that's the latest. All right, we got our dot 3. Just gonna carefully pour some into the reservoir. Just gonna squeeze it. Crack this open. Close it back up. So you had a little bit of fluid come out. All right, another thing that we did, we went ahead and got the chain guard started. This has got 3 coats of primer, metal primer. I went ahead and sanded it down just to kind of rough up the surface. And now we're using this Ultra cover paint and primer, gloss black, for wood, metal, and more. Indoor and outdoor quality. Got the first coat on here. We're gonna go ahead and do a second. Move to the backside. All right, we'll let that sit and dry. We'll do a few more coats till we, like this part here looks perfect. This part could use a little bit more love. So we'll let that dry. We'll come back and probably do 2 or 3 more coats, really get this thing sparkling. All right, y'all, starting to look a little more like a bike. Chain looks good. I'm about to put this chain guard on. And I got the screws, actually I'm just painting those right now. Brakes are installed, bled, super easy. Super pumped, this new master cylinder looks great. We're gonna have to put the mirror on and then switch this clutch lever out for the new chrome one that matches. That should be pretty simple. Got the tank kind of on, just two. All right, tank's on. That's not supposed to be there. Good morning, guys. We're back in the shop with Susie Q. So let's just do a quick overview. We got new tires, new front brake. The caliper is the same, but the pads and everything in there's new. We got the speedometer cable hooked back up, super easy. It just plugs and plays. I verified it works by just running down the driveway with it. And I watched the speedo move, so I know it's accurate. New chain looks really, really good. So it's on a little bit of the tighter side right now. I'm gonna go ahead and get it started whenever the ignition comes in a couple days, and I'm gonna probably run it for 10 miles or so, and then we'll check the tension again and adjust as necessary. There's our painted chain guard cover. Looks really good on there, I think. I have a door for this on the way, and then I'm actually working on doing something with this panel right here. Moving to the back. I still have yet to clean this up, but this is the bracket painted, looks good. Rear brakes work good. Just did like 1.3, 1.4 quarts of oil in there. You can just about see the top part there, maybe not on camera. But this engine hasn't ran, so once it runs and that oil starts moving through the engine, it should go back to a normal level. Everything else is looking really, really good. So that's kind of the progress on old Susie right now. We got the headlight assembly put back together. We have new blinkers coming. All right, I'm doing an update on Susie. So got these blinkers put on. I actually made this bracket right here out of old exhaust piping I had for my 2020 Road King. I had the headers that were just factory with the cat. I cut those apart and made this little bracket. So pretty pumped about that. Got the wires. Everything else is good on it. Let's take a look over here to our paint shop. And here's another bracket that I made. This one is being painted right now, and that'll hold on the other side. So that's the latest. All right, y'all. Today is the day. Got the new ignition plugged up, okay? And all we did was I verified that the light works, okay? So we are getting power. I've not wired these up yet. We walk around. You see this light is on, the brake light. Neutral light. I think on this you have to have the clutch in. So let's see what happens here. All right. Here we go. So I suspected that the battery was gonna be low. So I got me a jumpy boy. I'm gonna hook her up. Oopsies. We're reading 8.4 volts. Let's charge it up and see what we got. Verified fuel is on. Probably gonna set it to reserve because I don't think I have that much in it. Reading 11.8. All right, how about now? All right. There's life. Pull the choke out a little bit. How about now? We brought her back from the dead. All right. There's hope. So I feel like our idle is set too low. Let's try this. It's trying. Try messing with the choke, putting it in now that it's somewhat warm and it's not cold out today. It's getting better. Smoking out the garage. Let's try turning this up a little bit more. Oops. We got her running, baby! Woohoo! Oh yeah! A little smoky little giant though. Definitely running a bit rich. All right, so this part now is a little bit more technical. I have the rear blinker on, the left blinker, and basically what I need to do is figure out, because these wires are the same, these wires are turn signal wires. So the new turn signals, it's basic circuit. There's a positive and a negative. And on this one, there was positive, negative, and a signal wire. So the signal wire gave an extra hit of voltage so that these would stay on constantly. And I know that these look cattywampus, will fix that. But basically, I have the blinker on. Oh no, my monster. And what I'm gonna do is probe these wires and figure out which one is positive and negative for this side, and then I'll wire those up, and then I'll cut out the signal wire since we're not going to use that anymore on these. So that's kind of where we're at with this. We have our voltmeter. Basically, I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to take these guys. Looks like both of these are the same, and then we have, so these could be signal, these could be ground. I don't know, let's just find out. These, I'm gonna have to cut these because these look like garbage. So, oh, all right, there goes that. All right, y'all, we're gonna gas her up. While I'm filling her up, I just reset the carb to all the way in, and then we did 2.5 turns out, which is like a really good baseline for this carb per ChatGPT and the internet. So just put enough gas in here to get me around. And also I want full tank so I can test for any leaks, because before it wasn't entirely full, and now with it being all the way full, it's just a little bit extra pressure on the lines, and we'll be able to kind of look for anything suspicious. It is leaking oil. I found out one of the breather tubes is not connected, so it is leaking a little bit from that. Tank isn't full, but this is good enough that I can pretty much see inside, so that's not really a problem. Just gonna wipe her up here. Our new cap fits way better. Perfect. Probably gonna need a jump again. Let's see. Yeah, she ain't happy. Let's get her jumped. I'm gonna do a quick driveway lap and then we'll get out of here. All right, let's hook her up. That, or there's just a lot of stuff in the exhaust and engine that has to clean out. It rubs up good. It rides. I can find neutral. All right, guys, it's been a day. All right, we got Suzuki running well. Got the carb tuned. That wasn't too difficult. As you can tell, she's kind of taken back apart. So I noticed up here, I don't know if you can see this. I'll show it on when I turn the camera around. This is so there's two little plates here. Both of these are to adjust the valves. So your intake valve and your exhaust valve. And on the front side of the engine, I saw oil spewing out of there, okay? So, and I saw like little bubbles just kind of coming out. So I took it apart. It was just 2 bolts and a gasket. I cleaned it really, really well. A lot of brake clean on the metal surfaces, and I just scrubbed really well in between got all the dirt and crud out of there. Took the gasket, cleaned it really, really well, and put it back together. That stopped the leak. It stopped the leak there. So I kept looking, and I found oil and air coming out of the head gasket. So my suspicion is that kind of clinking noise we heard whenever it was running is actually air escaping the cylinder and going out between the cylinder wall and where the head meets the engine. So I suspect that is going to be the problem. I tried tightening down all the bolts, like the head bolts, and it was still just leaking out of there. I can visually see a space on the engine where it is there's just no gasket, or if it is, it's just like there's gasket and then there's a space and there's more gasket. I'm not sure. I ordered a new part, or a new head gasket off of Partzilla. It was like $34. I also ordered a new gasket for the valve cover. It was $3. So I figured if I'm already gonna have it taken apart, might as well just add another part there. Another thing we're gonna be doing once we get this apart is checking the valves. We're gonna be adjusting them so that they could be that they're just need adjustment. It's at 5,000 miles. Given that everything else is having problems, it's really not too hard. Basically, when you look at the valves, there is a bolt. It's like a lock bolt. So you're just gonna loosen that a little bit, and then you can actually screw the valve that way to raise or lower it. And I need to get a feeler gauge so that I can look to see the exact precision where it needs to be, but that's a problem for another day. Head gasket's been ordered, and now I am just gonna take it apart so that whenever it gets here, I can slap it all back together. I don't know how much of this I'll show because I really need both hands and I have music going, so that's kind of gonna be the plan there. For now though, the carb is out, the fuel line is out, the tank is out, and I'm actually working on taking the exhaust out. So cool thing about that though, since the exhaust is gonna come off anyways, I'm just gonna paint it black. I'm gonna leave the muffler chrome and do the header pipe all with my high temp exhaust paint. So that should look a little bit better when it's done anyways. It's not gonna cost me anything because I already have the paint for the cat butt, and I've got a ton of it, so we're just gonna use that. But as of now, that's the update, and we're gonna get her going. I also, yesterday, went and got it registered. So we paid our sales tax, we paid the registration fees. I did have to get a bond on the title since we couldn't get a hold of the original owner, and that's now out in the mail, but it does have a license plate. It is registered until end of November next year. So technically it is now street legal, and you know, it's one step closer to getting her sold, so. All right, y'all, so we took the valve cover head off. I'm gonna show you all the bolts now. So I've just put some tape down and labeled. This is a bigger job for me personally. So we have both of our valve cover gaskets, or not valve cover gaskets, but you know, the covers for adjusting them. You can see them right here. And all the screws are in the order in which we took them off and with certain depths. So we know exactly where they go back. These little bolts right here, they go inside these holes. And then it's pretty, actually not too hard, different depths, because you can tell, like, you know, this bolt here is shorter than this bolt. And based on the position that they go into there, there's different depths. So like this one's gonna be a shorter bolt as opposed to this one. And so yeah, that's pretty much how that goes. But we're about to pull the cam out of here. So there's a couple of bolts down in there, and we're gonna take them off. And then there's also 2 little bolts here for the head. So one's there, one's on the other side. This one's already a bit rounded and rusted, so I'm a little worried. We're gonna do our best, take our time. And then also we're just gonna document how this looks. One thing the service manual does say is do not drop the chain into the engine. So I'm gonna take a screwdriver once this comes off and then put it through there and just let it sit. That way this doesn't fall. But then once the camshaft comes out, then we should be good to take all of this apart and get the head out. So let's see you back in a minute. Good news, guys. Head gasket came off very easily, actually. Not a single broken bolt. Piston is, I'm trying to see if I can get a little light on the subject here. This might be too much light. Cylinder wall is not bad. It's just a little stained, but there's no scoring. There's just a lot of oil in there. That's, from the camera, it looks like it's rust, but I can assure you it's not. The piston does look pretty good. I see a little spot right there where it looks like it was tapping the lifter. So I'm gonna have to adjust that. But overall, it's not looking terrible. Just needs a good cleaning, and I think we will be okay. But here, all the parts are out here labeled. The head is off, and the valve cover. Got the cam, put a Lopey boy in there. No, this is a cam tensioner. And then, let's see. This is the backside chain tensioner. So this part bolts in on the head. It would have been like right here. And then that piece that went in here that I just pointed to on the table is the cam tensioner. That's what adjusts that. So that's how we kind of tighten and adjust it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, y'all, so as you can see, we got the bike all cleaned up and put back together. The head gasket went on super easily. Everything bolted up really, really well. As you can see, the header pipe is now painted with the high temp black. Everything is set, honestly. We got a little spray detail on her. And now it's time for pictures, and we're gonna get her up for sale and posted on Facebook. So hopefully we can get a buyer here as soon as possible. Until then, thanks guys for checking out. I had a lot of learning opportunities in this video with the project and while editing itself. So stay tuned, please subscribe, and I will continue to upload some really cool projects coming up here in the near future. Thanks, see ya.